Why are we doing this again?
So we are putting a value on some trees because there is some question on how much the trees are worth in a property dispute. So since we are consulting arborists, they were recommended to us by a local attorney that we are people that know how to value trees. So this is why we're going through this function. We've got 7 or 8 trees that we're doing, and this just happens to be one of those that we're working on.
So if we had to go to court and present our findings for whatever reason, what would we tell the judge and the attorneys?
Well, it depends on the questions they asked us, but
let's assume the question is how did you come to these numbers?
okay. Well, let's take page 1. Page 1 basically is actual numbers that most of it is it is what it is.
It's developed by the ISA.
It's developed by the ISA. All these formulas, how have they come up with this to figure that? So this number 1 price is at the arborist's discretion. In this particular,
based on how much we think not only the tree will cost, but the labor that it will take us to take it out and replace it.
well, this replacement cost, it doesn't say anything about taking it out and replacing it. So, but this particular replacement cost tree for this one tree location comes out to $2,035 because for the particular location that existing tree is that they want a value on, we can't bring in a tree spade or a craned tree because we don't have the room to put in another 21-inch diameter tree, which we could do. We've moved trees that big before, but
Which would increase
this cost tremendously.
that replacement cost.
Yes.
Right.
So basically what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're going to go buy a red cedar from a local nursery. What's the biggest size we can put back into that location once the other tree is out of there? And so we chose down here on number 3B, we chose a 3-inch diameter new cedar tree, which is generally measured 6 inches above the ground, which they call that caliper inch. So that's what we chose in putting in here, and that's how we came up with this particular number.
The 2,035.
Correct.
But if and we're doing that because of the limiting factors in that location. But if they wanted us to just all out replace the tree, then we would just find another tree of the same size and then do whatever we had to replace that. But since we can't do that, that's how we came up with that smaller number.
Correct. And the 21 down here on the 3A is the 21 up here in the red cedar diameter number.
They can't see the
spreadsheet. So all these numbers here are numbers that it is what it is, and you can't really change those. So then we go down to our species rating. The ISA tells you what that tree is rated, International Society of Arboriculture, for your part of the world. So we don't have any choice generally what it says unless we can't find the exact variety, and then we have to find a variety that's close and then calculate whether we wanted to go up or down on the percentages. So that's how we get the percentages. And then the next thing that makes a big change is the number 7 adjust by condition rating, which is page 2. And that's where the arborist really puts in his opinion and why he's putting these particular values on each one of these ISA particular items. So being an arborist for 50 years, I'm saying that in this case, this particular tree is only worth these particular numbers according to this scoring system up here in this corner at each one of these particular subject lines.
And you, because of your experience, you have a certain level of discretion that you can use because of your knowledge.
Yeah. And I'm pretty confident that if I had to sit in court and testify, which I've done before, that I can explain why I did this fairly easily.
Okay. What other reasons might somebody need? Why might somebody need a valuation? Like, what are some of the reasons that are the most common reasons that people call?
Well, in this case, it happens to be a property dispute and trees that are on a seemingly shared piece of property. Other reasons I've done traffic accidents. A car has gone off and damaged somebody's tree that grandma planted it 50 years ago.
So it's got sentimental value,
There's sentimental value in there, yep.
Which raises the overall rating of the tree?
It could, yep.
Okay.
Another value or another way that, or reason that we've done these is a house is burnt down and the people have coverage for their trees, so they want to know what the value of their trees are. So we'll put a value on lots of things. Or for lots of people. I did another one where a railroad had a fire on a pile of used railroad ties they'd put to the side of the railroad track, and it burnt over 200 and some trees down on a neighboring house, as well as nearly burnt the house down. So the attorney that we were working for had us put a value on a lot of those trees, and then they would extrapolate their overall damage that they felt that those trees were worth to take to court.
And then there have been a few instances where it's just completely off the wall. You wouldn't even think about it, but somebody's goats gets into their orchard and starts chewing on the branches of, say, their blueberries or hazelnut trees.
Yeah, I've actually done that before. A car ran into a hazelnut orchard and the trees were, maybe 3-4 foot height, and damaged a whole bunch of them. He needed something for the insurance company, the property owner, so they hired us to go out and put some numbers together. Another one, we did that on a blueberry farm, a similar situation. And funny you mentioned it, that I went out of town on one where some neighbors' goats got loose and chewed bark all the way around probably 30 different fruit trees in a young fruit orchard. So I had to go out there and put dollars on each one of those trees. So sometimes when you get a call for evaluation, you just never know what are the reasons behind it. But it really doesn't matter what are the reasons behind it. You got to put a value on those trees and be honest and fair to either side. So if you go to court, you're not looking like you're prejudiced to one side or the other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and even determining the total value of a piece of property in case somebody wants to sell it, or in case government comes around and says, we need to buy this property, what's the fair market value, including the value of the trees on the property.
Well, yeah, that would just be a price that we would give to a realtor or somebody else to include in their calculations.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
See you later. Nope, I think we're good.
Okay.